Okay, so it's 8 o'clock. Get started. I want to respect everybody's time. I know it's late, and I thank you guys for just jumping on the webinar and um, going through our curriculum syllabus, our ICT curriculum. I'm very passionate about teaching technology, and I'm still learning how to teach it myself. But I do believe it's something that our students deserve, and I believe it's something that our teachers deserve as well. All right, so without further ado, again, if you have any questions for the chat, just open up the chat function. Um, I've typed something in there. It says testing, just to see if everybody could see it. If you can see it, just uh, if you can see it, just type something in there, just to say hi or something. All right, so we're teaching technology. I will make this presentation available after. Oh, all right. Okay, there it works. All right. I'll make this presentation available after it's finished. I do have a link for it, but I'll share the link out afterwards. And I just want you guys to just relax and focus. So the link on the screen right now is a link to the curriculum documents that I have shared out via email. So everybody does have access to this, but um, if you need another resource, then the link is provided on the screen. You can just write it down. It's bit.ly/ICT dash curriculum dash docs. All right. If you want to type that into a browser, it should come right up and take you to the Google Drive. So where am I? How this works? Okay, so why are we teaching technology? We're teaching technology because our students deserve it. Our students are digital natives. So that means that the students that we're teaching right now they only know a world with technology in it as we know it, right? So they only know a world with smartphones, tablets, computers. Most of us are old enough to know when computers cost a lot more than they cost now and were a lot bigger, but they could do a lot less. All right. So the students that we're teaching right now have technology at their fingertips in ways that we didn't have. Technology allows our students to learn at their own pace. All right. I know we've all worked with students that have maybe physical disabilities, sight issues, or hearing issues. The technology that is available today allows students to learn in ways that best suits them, instead of them being forced to learn in ways that the masses are able to learn in, which they may not be able to. In that same thought, it transforms the learning process. Right now, we're able to bring up pictures of far away destinations. We're able to bring up resources that wouldn't have been easy to experience or to get our hands on. And when we were growing up, um, we can bring up maps and um, uh, augmented reality and virtual reality experiences for let me just for our students, and those are all resources that weren't available when we were all growing up. And whether we like it or not, our students are going to need to be proficient with using technology in order to succeed in almost any career once they leave us. So a lot of the jobs, pretty much all of the jobs or careers that our students are going to be going into are going to require them to learn or be proficient with technology. So for us to say, "Oh, I don't want to teach technology because I'm not good at it," that's that's basically giving up on the future of our students. All right. So we are teachers and we're in this profession to teach. And sometimes we have to step out of our own comfort zone in order to teach something new. As far as our moving on to why we're teaching technology, we're teaching technology because our teachers deserve it. New teachers are using technology extensively in the workflow. They come out of university, finish their teaching practice or teaching diploma. They have been using technology to get through all of their classes, right? So a lot of them want to come into this new teaching experience or a new classroom and want to be able to use technology at the same level that they were able to use it when they were doing their own education. Technology allows for ease of collaboration and sharing of ideas. This webinar is a prime example. I've been going to schools to give this same talk, and I've this allows me to reach a lot more people at once, as opposed to going to each school and arranging time and traveling up and down the island. Th- A lot this method here allows me to reach a lot more people at once. All right, so and this technology is available not just to me, but it could be available. It is available to everybody. All right, we just have to take advantage of it. Technology allows for differentiated instruction for students and individually tailored professional development for educators. All right, I talked about the first one already, but the second one I especially like because we don't have to rely on the Department of Education to dictate what professional development we want to take on. All right. So if there's something that we are interested in as a professional that we believe will help us be better at our craft, the information is out there. All you have to do is look for it. The internet's there, Google's there, YouTube's there. The professional development that you want to tailor for yourself, you can do so. And as pretty much I've mentioned this already as well, technology provides us with an abundance of resources at our fingertips. I mentioned being able to search resources and like maps and virtual reality experiences that we weren't able to look up when we were coming up in school. All this stuff is available to us right now, and you don't need to be ICT teacher to take advantage of it. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are taking advantage of it right now. All right. So I am very well aware that we have major technology obstacles in our education system. I've been to the schools, I've taught in the schools, I'm very aware of it. However, if we don't demonstrate that we need a drastic improvement in technology, we're never going to get that drastic improvement. So basically, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. We have to show that we are trying to use technology extensively in our classes. And when it doesn't work, or if and when it doesn't work, we need to start making noise. All right. Email the help desk, run it up the chain of command to your principals, but we have to make some noise about this stuff. But the only way that that's going to work is if we actually try to implement it in our lessons. So we need to start somewhere. So teacher expectations as far as the ICT curriculum is concerned. First expectation, primary teachers are expected to teach starting with text for term one. Now, starting with text is the very first module in the Cambridge ICT starters curriculum, the syllabus. So this is the first page of that module that I'm showing to you on the screen. It's 2 pages, but this is the first page. And there's 5 objectives. All right. The first objective is enter simple words using a keyboard or other input device. Now, the way that this, hi Kelly, the way that this, the ICT starter syllabus is spread out is that you have three modules. The first module is called starting with text. Sorry, it's called initial steps. The next one is called next steps. And the third one is called on track. The initial steps module is supposed to be for P1 to P3. The next steps level is supposed to be for P4 to P6. And the on track is for middle school, M1 to M3. However, because we don't have any system set up where teachers have been trained in delivering this curriculum, I'm starting everybody from the basics. So that's why these modules here look very simple, or these objectives here look very simple. If you teach P6, for example, you would be going with the next steps level, but everybody's going to start with just this. As we develop the capacity with the teachers, and teachers are more experienced and we train more, then we can start introducing more complicated areas of the curriculum. But for now, everybody's just going to start with just this module. So starting with text for term 1. Now, this is where everybody's going to be responsible for. So on the left in this table, you see those same 5 objectives, all right? Enter simple words, select and edit text, select basic icons, name, save, and retrieve documents, use appropriate methods to check text is error-free, all right? Same thing right here. If you are in P1, P1 and P2, you're only responsible for the first 2 objectives. Okay, so that's all you're going to be teaching and assessing. Objectives 1 and 2. For P3, you're going to be doing objectives 1, 2, and 3. And for P4, you're going to be doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for P5 and 6, you're going to be doing all 5. Okay. Now, in doing this talk, one of the teachers asked me if I'm teaching P5, or I think this was before I explained it actually, but if you're teaching P5 and you want to do something a little bit more advanced than enter simple words, then you can certainly do so. The rest of the syllabus is there for you to go through and read through. If you want to experiment with it, that's fine. But all I'm saying in this area right here is this is all you're going to be. This is the only expectation. If you want to move on past this, that's up to you. That's fine. I absolutely encourage teachers to go through the syllabus, experiment with the syllabus, and try more advanced things if you find that your students are more advanced. This part right here, however, is just all I'm asking you to do for this first term. All right. If anybody needs any clarity about this, just type something in the group chat so I can answer a question. If not, I'll just go through. If I need to come back, then I'll just come back to it. But I hope this table right here is clear for everybody. All right. Also, this is the expectation for primary teachers, not primary ICT teachers. All right. So I do know that there are some dedicated private ICT teachers at the school. My suggestion, or what I would like to see, is for all teachers in the primary level to take on some of these objectives, to take on teaching this stuff, the ICT content, and I'll show you how to incorporate that in your lessons as we move on. What really? Okay. All right. So starting with text, the all of the this is from the syllabus. And Kelly's watching. I hope I don't get this wrong, but we do not have scales, proficiency scales for ICT yet. And we're working on that. However, you don't need the scales to still incorporate some SBG tenets that we've learned. So learning intentions and success criteria. You can take your learning intentions directly from the objectives that are in the syllabus. All you would have to do is just break it down and turn it into a student-friendly "we are learning to" statement, a bold statement. All right. The success criteria you can find on the right-hand side of the module of the page that has the module on it, and all of the modules from P1 up to M3 are all laid out like this. All right. So if you need to figure out what your success criteria is, then you can go directly to these pages in the syllabus. The plan for the year is in term 1, we're going to be doing starting with text. In term 2, we're going to be doing starting graphs. And in term 3, we're going to be doing starting programming. The starting with text was the easiest one to start with. And we're going to be increasing in difficulty as we go on. But that also means that there's going to be some training that is going to be coming along. All right. So I don't want anybody to start worrying about it. But if you want to start reading ahead in the syllabus and seeing what's involved in the starting graph sections and the starting programming sections, you're more than welcome to do so. But this, I just wanted to show what the roadmap is going to look like for the year. All right, so more teacher expectations. Teachers should use both the syllabus and schemes of work as references when planning their lessons. So I've showed you already the ICT syllabus that's laid out. You see on the left side of the screen. The schemes of work is on the right-hand side of the screen. And that we've all seen what the schemes of work document looks like. Okay, so I don't want to go into that one too much, but it is pretty self-explanatory if you've worked with the Cambridge schemes of work document before. What I've found though in my reading of the curriculum is that it's very useful to have both of these side by side, because the syllabus presents the information one way, the schemes of work presents the information another way, but the schemes of work also gives you a lot of suggested activities that you can do in the classroom. I think, okay, so this is the Cambridge ICT syllabus document, or this is the justice section on starting with text. So on the left-hand side is all the objectives and the assessment criteria that I mentioned before. On the right is the second page that shows you what you might need to do to get started, give you some tips, any prior knowledge that the students might need to have, or that you might want to make sure that they have before you start getting into anything. This is, as I mentioned, this is the simplified, this is pretty much the most simple module in this syllabus, all right? All the other stuff that gets more complicated and more advanced, everything looks like this. So there's prior knowledge, there's new words, and if the new words are new to you, then I would strongly suggest that you go through and learn more about them. At the top, right, for example, so this section is starting with text. In the getting started sections, learners can use any word or text processing software for this module. So what I've noticed when I'm going out to the schools is the teachers will say, oh, the computers take forever to load up, and the student, especially for the younger students, we don't have the usernames and passwords, et cetera, et cetera. Notice that it says any word or text processing software. So it doesn't say you have to use Microsoft Word. All right. Um, it you can use any type of word processing software that is available, or you can use any word processor. So for example, if you want to pull out your phone, if you're feeling that brave, you can pull out your phone, open a notepad document or a notepad app, and have them type their words into that app. All right. They don't need to save it. They don't need to print it. As a teacher, you can look at that and say, all right, I've seen that my student can type X amount of words that I gave them into a word processing software or app, and that would be sufficient for completing that objective. Um, Kelly says, are there any assessments created from CIE that would support the ICT curriculum? Probably. I have to try and get my hands on them. It was a piece of work trying to get my hands on the curriculum itself, the schemes of work. So as I find that stuff, I will make it more available to the teachers. I hope that answered the question. Um, so all of these documents again are available on the link that I provided at the beginning of the presentation. Just for the benefit of those that just got in, I'm going to skip back to the beginning. So this is the link right here. If you don't have it, this is the link to access the curriculum documents. You can write it down and type it into a browser. It's bit.ly/ICT curriculum docs. All right. Kelly's asking me if I can cut and paste the link in the chat. Okay, let's see if this works. Yep, here we go. Links in the chat. Thanks, Kelly. All right, let's go and skip back forward to where it was. Da-da-da. Okay, next slide. Oh, I had all this stuff circled before, highlighted before, and I didn't highlight it. This Cambridge ICT Starters Schemes of Work document, again, this should look familiar to everybody. Saved it in her favorites. Kelly, you're learning a lot today. So this Schemes of Work document hopefully should look familiar to everybody. This second page shows the introduction. It's like a little introduction section, but at the top you see the headings that it has as learning objectives, suggested activities, resources, and comments. This again is all for the ICT, the starting with text module. So that same module that we were looking at earlier, here are some examples of suggested activities in the classroom. Over here, you still have your objectives. Again, in the resources side, it says word processing software. It does not say Microsoft Word. And actually at the bottom of, that link doesn't work. Okay, this link is in the Schemes of Work document, and it does work, and it opens up into a very child-friendly typing app, web-based. So it's going to take you to a website that has a very child-friendly app, and it's very useful. I tested out before, and I think the students will like it, but it will help them to with the typing skills. Let's see, next slide. So more teacher expectations. Teachers are expected to update gradebooks twice a month. For now, ICT does not have scales, so we will be using traditional scoring. This is not from me. This is from the commissioner as part of my monitoring criteria. So if I'm monitoring ICT, one of the things that I need to monitor is that teachers are updating their grade books twice a month. So again, this is going to be moving forward. We were expecting it to start this from September, but the adoption hasn't been as quick as I wanted it to be. So moving forward, we're just going to be like, if you can attack these objectives and try and assess these objectives twice a month, that's all we're looking for right now. Entering this information into PowerSchool, this link right here is a link to a video tutorial that we put together recently, like over the weekend, and it shows you how to enter assignments for traditional scoring into PowerSchool. We do not have scales for this subject yet, so please do not try and add any rubrics or anything to your assessments for now. Once we do have proficiency scales, then this will be more, we'll be scoring this a different way, not the traditional way, but the proficiency scale way. All right. But for now, all you're doing is you're creating the assignments and entering the assignments into PowerSchool. And hold on, sorry. Kelly, you've been messaging me privately, and I put the link in there privately. Let's try this link to everyone. There we go. All right, so I put the link to everyone in the chat. Okay, so enter something into your grade book twice a month. So those are all the expectations for teachers so far. You can go back through this again once I give out the presentation and share the presentation. You can go through it again in your own time. Obstacles to teaching technology, and know there are some obstacles. I'm going to highlight these obstacles and try and provide some solutions. All right. Obstacle one, lack of time in the schedule. So from what I understand, and going to the schools, most of the schools only have 45 to 60 minutes per week of ICT time. So that's not enough time to be proficient at anything. But especially if we want our students to be proficient in using technology and understanding technology. So, and to be on par with students in other jurisdictions. So 45 to 60 minutes a week is just not enough time. The solution for that is cross-curricular integration. So this is why I mentioned at the beginning that the expectation is for all teachers to teach ICT. So what you will be doing is integrating ICT objectives with activities from other subjects. Here's a table that I've put together with some ICT objectives. So these are not all from the starting with text module. I picked these from other modules, further throughout the curriculum, just to give you an idea. So for the first one that we did mention, enter simple words, that's from the starting with text module. For science and social studies, especially because those are heavy in vocabulary, you can have students type words from a word bank into a word processor. All right, so you can introduce your vocabulary. These words do not have to be, or they can be, but they don't have to be words that the students come up with on their own. You can give them a word bank, and you can have them just take those words and type those words into a word processor. All right. For ELA, you can have them type sight words into a word processor. Um, my computer lab, Narissa says, my computer lab doesn't have enough computers to cater to my class of 20. It was going to be 22. How can this be addressed? Um, this can be addressed right now. I would say that for now, you could possibly, what year level are you teaching, by the way, Narissa? If you can type it in there. Primary four. All right. So primary four, you can, I mean, if there's certainly a way for students to take turns, for example, in using this the computer lab, because ideally, like the perfect situation would be for you to have a computer center in the classroom, right? So you might have a center with five computers around it. I know I'm talking to teachers. I know we're all thinking like, yeah, right, in a perfect world. But this is where we want to get to eventually. So you could have one group of students working on one section, or working on something, let's say in science, and you could have another group working on their ICT work. You I guess in a computer lab with two, when you're short two computers, there will have to be a situation where there's, maybe there's a computer buddy, and they work on the sight words or work on the vocabulary together. All right. A big part of teaching and learning ICT is collaboration anyway. So that's the best answer that I have for you for now. Ideally, as I said, we do want to get to a point where we have enough computers in the classroom that the teachers can use as a center for the students. In addition to all the computer labs being fully functional. All right. So I hope I've answered your question. Um, oh, you doubled them up today. Well done. That's good. How did it work out? Um, I'll show everybody else while you're typing your answer. I showed everybody else so another objective in the that is coming out of the ICT curriculum is that you can present information in charts or graphs. And also, this is a good time for me to mention that not all of these objectives need to take place in the computer lab. Sorry, not all of these lessons need to take place in the computer lab. So, in if you are teaching the information on charts and graphs, you may not go directly to the computer lab and start working in Excel. You may have students create a table in their notebooks in the classroom or some paper, or have uh, note cards that you can use as headers for your table, lay it out on the floor in the classroom, just to have students understand how information is structured in a spreadsheet. All right. I'm just looking at the comments. Kelly says, I guess they can learn, practice, and rehearse in small groups. Keep the assessment. Oh, this is to everybody. Everybody can see it. All right. So I don't have to read it. But yes, keep the assessment short and sweet when it comes to the summative. Yes, Kelly. Thank you very much. All right. Another objective: plan a short sequence of instructions and algorithm to achieve a specified objective. This is directly from the starting programming module that we'll be doing in term 3. All right. So part of scientific inquiry is planning investigative work, a short sequence of instructions. All right. If you teach family studies, the easy one is plan the steps to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. All right. Part of programming, all it is identifying the steps that you need to achieve a specified goal. All right. The coding and language stuff, all that is the language that the computer is going to use to understand those instructions. But if you don't know what the sequence of instructions is to begin with, then knowing the language, the coding language, isn't going to help you at all. So this is the fundamentals of programming, which we've all made a list of how to do something at some point in our lives. We're just teaching the students how to do that and how that relates to programming. Identifying field types is taken from the exploring databases. Now, this one is actually from the upper level one. So this would be from the next steps module. Anything that says like starting something, that's from the initial steps. Exploring anything will be from next steps. And I can't remember what the on track one starts with, but they all start with the same. Oh, it's for a purpose. It would be databases for a purpose in uh, the middle school level of this content. So science, social studies, and math, using note cards, create fields that could be used to organize people in a class. So you're categorizing stuff. And this is the basics, the fundamentals of a database, right? And you'll notice that the databases start is a lot of them they're laid out similar to a spreadsheet, right? And we just introduce later what the difference is between a database and a spreadsheet further along. So these are just examples of how you can integrate the ICT objectives into your other subjects to maximize the time that the students get with ICT education. Before I get to that, there was something else I was going to mention. So what is another suggestion I would have is that in the collaboration, anytime you guys have to collaborate in your schools, I'm sure there's somebody whose specialty is science and someone whose specialty is social studies and ELA and so forth. What I would suggest is going through the objectives in each module that we're going to look at in term 1, 2, term 2, and term 3, and look for how those objectives can be integrated into your subject. So my specialty, what I was teaching in middle school, is science. So that's why when I look at a lot of these objectives, I can say, oh, we can do this in science, we can do that in science, and especially the stuff that comes with graphs and organizing data, all of that. Anything to do with a spreadsheet or a database, I automatically think like, okay, this is what I can do in science. The database one, actually, if you're looking at ELA, you could, and this would be further. I wouldn't expect anybody to do this right away, but I just thought of this, creating a database of the books in your classroom, the reading books in your classroom. So you organize them by author, year, genre, whatever other type of criteria you might want to implement. And then you could even create in another table the list of students in the class, and then that way if a student takes out a book and read it, you can put into the database what they thought about the book or any work that's attached to the book. And there's a very helpful web application that I've been using for a while now. It's called, I don't know if anybody's seen it. I'll put it in the chat. It's called Airtable. Airtable. And if you look that up, it's free to use. There is a little bit of a learning curve to it, but I was looking at it today and I think that would be a really great and easy to use database software for the students to use and for the teachers, especially the teachers, to use just from an organizational standpoint. But especially in middle school, once we start teaching how databases work, that Um, that app is pretty amazing. On that, just since we're talking about software, I'm not going to dictate what software you guys use to teach these lessons. I'll offer suggestions, but what's likely going to happen is as teachers get more familiar with the content and teaching ICT, you guys are going to find your own apps that work probably better than the stuff I put out. And you're more than welcome to use whatever you find online. What I would suggest is that whatever you find, that you share that information. All right. So that other teachers can say, oh, I found this app. You should try this app. Check it out, show them how to use it, etc. All right. So I'm not going to dictate. I'll offer suggestions, but I'm not going to say you have to use this unless it's something specific, and unless it's something that, like, for example, we have to pay for, or anything like that. But on the whole, your teachers have autonomy to use whatever software they want to use to teach, as long as they comfortable with it and they get the objectives across and the students benefit. you know go for it. Okay. Obstacle 2: technology doesn't work. And there we go. This was help straight from Narissa's issue today. The internet is slow. I know. Computers in the lab don't work. The computers take long to start up. There's not enough computers in the classroom. I'm very aware of all of this. It happened when I was in the classroom, and it's still happening. Right. So very aware of this. The best answer I have for you right now is that it won't improve if we don't try to use it. So for the moment, we just got to try and do the best we can, as I mentioned before, and make as much noise about it as possible. Email help@moed.vm. Copy me on your emails. I can't fix any computers. I can't. I just don't have that ability. I can't even change my own. Like, I can't reset my own password. Like, if I lose my password or something, I have to email help as well. So I'm strictly on the curriculum and assessment side, but the most I can do is advocate for the teachers and what the teachers need to the IT department and to the administrative department and whoever else. And if I have emails to back it up, of teachers that have gone to email the help desk and try to get things happening and nothing's happening. If I have that information, then that's something that I can use to back up my arguments. All right. So this is not really going to help you as much. It's kind of like telling you, your house is on fire. Well, we don't have water right now, so spit on it. Right. So unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with right now. But I am going to try to do my best to advocate for the teachers and especially our students. All right. But what I'm asking you to do is email the help desk as much as possible. Mention any issues you have to your principals, because they meet with the commissioner very often, and they can voice those concerns to the commissioner as well. Right. And any emails that go out to the help desk, just CC me on them. Obstacle 3: I'm not good with technology. I hear this one. I hear this one a lot. Right. So, solution: as teachers, we need to be lifelong learners, and we owe it to our students. When I started teaching science, I could replace this with I'm not good with science. Right. But it wasn't easy, but I stayed up. I watched a lot of YouTube. I read a lot of information. I went to workshops on how to teach science. I did as much learning as I could possibly, right? Because I was a science teacher. We we all need to be ICT teachers. I know you guys already have a lot on your plate as far as what you have to read and what you have to learn, but we owe it to our students to become better at the technologies that they are growing up in a world is full of technology. Like they didn't ask for that. So, but we as teachers need to show them how to use this stuff responsibly and how to make it work for us so that we can help them to succeed in a world where technology is like you pretty much have to know, you pretty much have to be proficient with using it in almost any career that you go into. Um, so solutions. Use technology to learn about technology. This is a screenshot of something that I just looked for today. Just what is a database when I was trying to put some information together, some resources together. What is a database? This video, the second video, this one right here, it was easy to watch. It's just under 4 minutes and it tells you, explains to you what a database is. All right. Google everything, YouTube everything, and Twitter. I've been a advocate for Twitter for a long time. I think educators should have a Twitter account. It's extremely helpful when it comes to creating online professional learning communities, using through the use of hashtags and following people that talk about um, topics, education topics that you are passionate about. There is a lot of nonsense on Twitter, but there's a lot of nonsense on the internet, period. It's all about what you choose to follow. And there are an abundance of educators on Twitter that are always tweeting about whatever subject that they are passionate about. So whether it's standards-based grading or whether it's technology or um, you know uh, special education, um, there's an abundance of educators on Twitter, and I highly strongly suggest that if you are a teacher that wants to be more of a learner or wants to follow people that are talking about the subject that you're passionate about, create a Twitter account and just look for some people. All right. They're pretty easy to find. Oh, obstacle 3.1. I don't know what I need to know. So if you don't know what to look for, use the Cambridge ICT starters as a roadmap. So this is the table of contents from the ICT starters syllabus. All right. This is the initial steps. So these are all these subjects that are in the initial steps module. Again, we're not doing all of these this year. We're doing starting with text, graphs, and programming. However, it also has images, searches, and email. Exploring the next steps part, you see it all starts with exploring. There's programming in here, databases, spreadsheets, email, how to use email, how to explore the internet properly, multimedia. On track, remember this is all middle school stuff. However, it may be too advanced for primary school, but it's not too advanced for a educator professional, right? So if you want to know what you need to know, take a look in the on track modules and see what's covered in databases, programming, website design, networks. All right. So you don't have to use, well, you can use the syllabus as a starting point, but then now, okay, let me look in the website design module, see what they're talking about, and now I know what to look for on on the internet. But I know what I need to Google. I know what I need to look for on YouTube. Right. So use the ICT starter syllabus as a roadmap to get you to become a better ICT educator. Oh, I keep forgetting I put this stuff in here. This is where we're going eventually with the on track module stuff. All right. But you can see P1 to P3, this stuff is age appropriate for P1 to P3. P4 to P6, and middle school. However, let me reiterate, everybody in primary school, we're working from here for this year. After we get the training rolled out, then everybody else, we can start moving towards the upper primary content. And that's what I was just talking about. Professional development is currently being planned for the new year, hopefully starting January 2020. And that is it. We're at the end of the, oh, good time too. We're at the end of the webinar. So there's a survey. I'm going to copy and paste the survey link into the chat. Paste. That's the survey link. And this presentation can be accessed at this link right here. All right. I am putting together a group of people who might be interested in helping to push the ICT education further. If you want more information, please consider joining our work group that I've started on Slack. This link explains what Slack is. It's a messaging platform. However, it's that's not the link to Slack. That's a link for information about Slack. So it's a messaging platform like WhatsApp, but it's not. I prefer it to WhatsApp because you keep your phone numbers private, and it's a lot more geared to business and a work, sharing work ideas and work collaboration than WhatsApp is. If you are interested in the work group, just email me, send me an email, pgtrot@millhead.bm with the subject ICT work group, and we can go from there. And there's also that same information is in the webinar as well. All right, so I hope this has been informative. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if there's no further questions, guys, this webinar has been recorded. I should have said that at the beginning. I'm sorry. I am gonna download it and then clean it up and upload it so that if you need to reference it again, I'll push out a link so that you can reference this webinar for future use. All right. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you guys for joining the webinar. I was very nervous at the beginning. I probably shouldn't say that, but trust me, anybody can do this. You just have to want to do it and want to learn more about it. I'm very willing and able to help anybody that wants to show an interest in teaching ICT better. And I think our students deserve it. So thank you guys for your dedication and enjoy the rest of your night. All right. See you later. Bye.